Kayla Carroll. I am the Ore Council Day Camp Program Director this year for our Cub Scouts, and I want to welcome you to our first ever video training for our volunteer staff, and those would be the people that come to lead the stations at our day camps. I want to say thank you to all of you who volunteer to be on our staff. We actually do 29 days of camp over the summer, and we have about 3,000 boys come to visit us, and we have a new staff every day. So that means there's nearly 1,000 of you that come to lead these fun stations and teach the boys. And the better we can support you, the better you'll be prepared to teach them and to have a great day at camp. Let me give you some tips for the day of camp. Arrival times are as follows. If you're doing a one-day camp with the Cub Scouts, you'll need to be at camp at 7 a.m. at the various locations. And if you're doing a Webelos camp, either day 1 or day 2 of Webelos camp, you'll need to be there at 12 noon. The reason we arrive early before all the boys is so that we can unload the trailer and set up each station and just be ready for them when they get there. Then you need to bring a lunch with you and a water bottle. You can bring a camp chair if you want. And you can also bring a pop-up or an umbrella for some shade. We do have trees at most of our camp locations, but I can't guarantee that everybody's gonna get a tree. So if you wanna bring your own shade, that's great. If you don't need to use it, you can leave it in your car or whatever. Then at the end of the day, after the last station is done, there's 10 stations throughout the day. We'll load up. You can have your last group of boys help you pack your tote and clean up all the station stuff, and then you'll take it back over to the trailer and help us load it if you would please. That gets us all home a little bit earlier, and we're usually done loading the one-day camps by 4 o'clock, sometimes earlier, and the Webelos camps will be all packed up and ready to go home before 9 o'clock, I'm sure. So welcome to the videos. I'm going to go through each tote separately, and there'll be a video for each one. And we'll see you on your day of camp. Okay, this is the I Spy or the Woodcraft station. So when you get to camp and you unload the trailer, you will look for this tote. It has a label on top that says I Spy and a list of all the supplies that should be in the tote. If you do happen to run into a situation where there's something missing or you've run out of something, just find one of the directors in the green shirts and we'll be happy to help you. I'm going to unload the tote for you now and then just kind of walk through how to put this periscope together. It's a fun little periscope project that should be fairly easy for the boys to put together. A couple of tips: make sure they don't use too much glue, not too much tape, and just make sure all the ends are lined up and they should be fine. There is a station write-up that should be coming to you via email. If you don't receive one, contact your volunteer coordinator and bug them till they send you one. And they'll bug us till we send them one, and then everybody should be happy. So it has step-by-step pictures of how to put the periscope together, and I have samples here, and we'll just kind of walk through it a little bit. So when you get your tote, just unload everything. These are labeled 1, 2, 3, and then I have a couple of finished products here. There's markers in the tote, very important for the boys to write their name and their pack number on them so that if they get lost or when they get lost, we can find the boy and get it back to him. So we have those. There's masking tape and then wood glue. It says Elmer's glue, but we like the little tips on the glue bottles so that they don't use a whole bunch of wood glue. So that's why we put wood glue in regular glue bottles. And there should be enough for 2 boys to share a bottle. So there'll be plenty of glue, plenty of tape, and then we'll have a kit for each boy. Looks like this, has instructions in it. And right now my tote has hammers, but we don't need hammers for this wood project, so these will disappear and you won't have to carry the weight. This is just extra pieces from my samples. If for some reason one of the packages is missing something, you might check this extra piece bag for those extra pieces. If you want to, in between the stations, open the bag and lay out the pieces, that's fine. Or otherwise you can just let the boys open it. Make sure that you employ the walking leaders, keep them engaged and helping the boys they will be an invaluable resource for you. Okay, so just lay out the pieces. There should be 2 of everything. These slotted boards hold the mirrors, of course. And the first thing you'll want to do is peel the protective cover off of the mirrors, off the shiny side of the mirror. This mirror is a little different. So you'll just pull up the plastic so that the mirror is shiny. And then you will put the mirror in the slots. The mirrors are not exactly square, so you'll want to make sure that you put them in the same direction. And you'll want to also make sure that the shiny side of the mirror is facing each other. So one will be like that and one will be like that. That's the first step. So then it looks like this, and then you're going to glue this board on, and I would suggest just 4 dots of glue, 1 on each end, 2 in the middle on each side, and then you'll have something that looks like this. And I would put just a little piece of tape about that big on each side just to hold it there. This is going to be the hardest part of the whole build, is flipping this over to get the other board on without it all falling apart. So the boys will need help to turn that over by their walking leaders, by you. I actually glued these mirrors in just for my samples because there's nothing to hold them in, but normally you wouldn't glue the mirrors in. So then I'm going to pretend that's glued and just put a little bit of tape on it. To hold it together. And then if you kind of hold these sides together, you can just flip it over like that. Now when you put these boards on, make sure that you're not covering up the shiny part of the mirror. So this one will go here. Again, 4 dots of glue on each side. Lay it down. Make sure the ends line up so that all the other pieces fit on there nicely. Okay, now that you've got that on, the next piece is the end piece. And this is going to stick up a little bit. And you want that part to stick up where the mirror is visible. So again, they'll glue that, just a couple of dots of glue on each, one here, one here, one here, one here ought to be sufficient, unless you want to put another one in the middle. And then you'll put a little bit of tape there to hold that while it dries. And then you can do the other end. You can do this without flipping it over if you'd like, because it's already lined up. It's going to be flush at the bottom, and it'll stick up the other end. And then your last piece, this one you just want glue on the ends, and that goes right here, and that's what holds your mirror in place. And I would even tape those down so that we don't lose any of those as the glue is drying. After the glue is dried, you know, when the boys take it home, they can remove all the tape. And then you've got a completed periscope. I can see you, but you can't see me. In the station write-up, there is a little story about what periscopes are used for. Be sure and read that to the boys, or tell that to the boys in your explanation step. And then they can decorate their periscopes with the markers if they would like. You know, draw stuff on it, but make sure they put their name and their pack number on it, so if we do lose it, we can get it back to the right boy. Okay, this should be a really fun station. It should be pretty easy for the boys to handle on their own. After you're done with each station, you need to reset. So I would just kind of create 16 different stations, lay a kit out, put your glue out so that each 2 boys have access to glue, put the tape out. Make sure they're not using this much tape though to, do each one. They just need a tiny little bit, and that's something that you could have your walking leaders do too. At the end of the day, when you're all done, the last bell has rung and we're cleaning up, just put everything back neatly in the tote like you found it. Gather up all the glue, wipe the tips so we don't have glue everywhere, make sure the lids are all tight. And then we'll have a box full of kits that you'll need to transport back to the trailer as well. So that'll be part of your station. And then that'll be it for your station. Then just take it back to the trailer, help us load up, and then you'll be free to go. We hope you enjoy your day at camp, and we're looking forward to seeing you there.